Jennie Joseph presents The Hands That Caught Us, a legacy podcast series with our midwife elders, an archival offering through the Perinatal Pause podcast with Jennie Joseph, where we rest, reclaim, and remember one story at a time. Welcome to The Hands That Caught Us, a sacred series within the Perinatal Pause podcast with Jennie Joseph. In each episode, we sit in reverence with our elder midwives, keepers of ancestral knowledge, community healers, and witnesses to the sacred continuum of life. These conversations are a pause, a restoration, and a reclaiming of our birthright. These are the stories that built us, and these are the stories that sustain us.
So, welcome. Here we are with the beautiful, the wonderful, the marvelous Mama Shafia Monroe, here to talk about her amazing new book, Mothering the Mother. Welcome, Shafia.
Thank you, Jennie Joseph. I love seeing you whenever I can. So thank you for allowing me to have this time with you today.
No, this is so important. This, to me, I'm just so full, just knowing what you have done in terms of the gift you have given us all in putting into words what we have seen from you, what we have learned from you, what we have needed from you. And you have now been so generous to put this out into the world in this way. Talk to me about how this book concept came to you. How did you get to want to put Mothering the Mother out into the world?
Ooh, I've been using this whole experience like pregnancy as a midwife. I think I preconceptually felt this years ago, because I always tell people, for me, letting African descent people know how rich we are in our history, to bring about that racial pride and bring our racial oxytocin up, and traveling over the years to different events and hearing about postpartum work, but not really seeing something that really reflected my culture. And so I wanted to put something that gave the truth, that we also had a postpartum culture. Not only do we have one, but one that's effective, that worked for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
So the other part I always tell people is that my mom was very much a reader, and she taught us very early in life. In fact, the early part of my book is dedicated to my mom. I love both my parents, but it does say, if I may, to my mother, Yvonne Delilah Kenya Monroe, who loved to read, visit libraries, and read me bedtime stories. Mm-hmm. She modeled me the power of the written word and taught that important things are written down and kept safe in books. And so that's what she said. If you want something important to stay, you make sure it's written. She also told me with the sisters, and when you know something back then, they would put in the book. So she was very literate. And so I wanted to put this information in the book, because as you know, at some point I won't be here. And I want this information to carry on for decades, forever. And so I am very excited that people can find this book now around the world. It has expanded the potential for knowledge by being in a book that people can find anywhere. And it's also audible. So those who don't want a book,
yes.
Just listen to it. So I thought that was good. I mean, I'll tell you, the publishers were great. Just to write a book, I was going to write the book. In fact, I wrote my memoirs. That's my idea, was to write my memoirs. I did that, and my daughter, of my 7 children, the fourth one, is the fourth one? It is the fourth one. She's a girl, Makata. She said, Mom, did not self-publish. Nothing against self-publishers, but don't say, get a publisher. Mm-hmm. So then I called a friend that you and I know. It was actually Dr. Viva Ram, who wrote a great book, Postpartum, which I like, and I knew her years ago. And she gave me her literary agent, and I sent my memoirs to them, and they immediately said, we want this. And then we made contact. They said that they don't want the memoirs. They want the other part of the book. So that was interesting. Then I talked to Michael Tweedy, who I love also, of the Cooking Gene. He is the Arthur Beard Award winner for his book. And he was very kind of sending me a proposal. So it's a big deal to write a book, you all. The proposal is like 36 pages. Before you even get there, you have to write a 36-page proposal about what your book's about, who cares, all that good stuff. And then you shop it around to the publishers, which brings me to my point. There were 6 publishers that were interested. I chose this one. And this one has really just done a great job in helping me understand how to make the book available for the world by making it audible as well as in print.
Yes.
To answer that question.
Well, it's like almost like you're reclaiming through the book all of this history that you've just outlined. I was so honored when you asked me to endorse the book, and I was it just moved me. Just even the preview of it, just looking at what you've covered. What I wrote. One of the things I wrote was that this is a cultural memory made actionable, and it reads like a love letter, even though it works like a handbook.
Right. But so, you're right. It's love. I love the pregnant woman, the pregnant family, the community. And I want them to have something. And because we have been so downtrodden, minus the fact that we have more women, Black women. Of course, we want all women to live. And this book actually is universal. It doesn't matter how you identify. If you have a uterus and you are going to be having children, this book is going to help you. But it is a cultural book. You will learn what African Americans did, from enslavement up until the late 70s, where when we lost the Black midwife, we lost this as well. So everything was lost. And so it is a reclaiming, it is a love letter, because I love my community. And it's so interesting. We know that when the studies say around postpartum depression, when women feel more cared for and more help, they have less postpartum depression. And so that's what this book's about, feeling loved. That you had a baby, how important not to feel loved, or how important it is to be loved. You brought forth new life. It is a loving, memorable time. It's an exciting time. And I feel like the book captured that energy. I do have to show the cover, because that was...
Yes, you do.
If I can do this correctly.
That's beautiful. Mothering the mother. It's beautiful.
So it's a woman holding a mother, but look what she looks. Look at that big gown. Because I said you're a queen. She has this big gown on. Her hat's like a crown. And she's surrounded by all this help. Someone has flowers. Someone's holding fruit. Someone's touching her shoulder. Someone has a black cast iron pot with the collard green for the potluck and the iron and the calcium. So everything that I talked about in this book, this artist, who I dearly respect, was able to capture what I want. This looks like an African-American family where this beautiful woman is a queen who's being loved and surrounded with a big, healthy Black baby at her breast. And so that's what I wanted people to see. And we went through a couple of different artists with different images, and I didn't quite feel it. But because I don't choose it, the publisher chooses the artist. When they sent me that one, it's like, this is it. Like,
oh my God.
I was so excited. It's the most gorgeous picture. I just love it. It just says everything for me. Without words, you can see what it's supposed to look like.
It's visual, but it's also visceral.
Yes.
Right? You can embody that.
Yes.
You can feel that, right?
Exactly, yes.
Powerful. So let's go into more meat and potatoes of the book. So your contents include, for example, how you became Queen Mother of a Midwife movement, right?
Yes.
I mean, talk a little bit about that.
Well, that title was bestowed on me through Monica Simpson, executive director of Sister Song in Atlanta, Georgia. And I did include in the book their slogan or movement, Listen to Black Women, which came up many, many years ago. We don't hear it that much. Well, we hear it in a funny kind of way. We hear when something happens to a Black woman that they did not listen to me. But her company, her organization created that movement. But when I was retiring from the International Center for Artificial Childbearing, this reporter, she interviewed a lot of people, and one person that she interviewed was Monica Simpson, who said that Mother Shafia is the queen of the midwife movement. We go to her for direction. So
I agree. And for people who don't know you, Shafia, say a little bit quickly about your midwifery standing and ICTC, because that is relevant to how we got here.
Yes. So I want to say that, of course, midwifery is universal. It's always been this country. They brought our African ancestors here, enslaved against their will. And as they captured these intelligent geniuses on the continent, many were midwives. And so those midwives came across the Atlantic into the United States and kept doing that work. So we know a lot of work about them. But then it got eradicated like in the 50s, 40s, 30s. And a group of women, Black women, we got together and we wanted to reclaim that. We found those midwives to kind of, go back and create that bridge to bring our tradition forward. And so though there were other midwives doing it, what made it different for me, I actually created a nonprofit in Boston, Massachusetts in 1980, I believe, 1979. And that's what put me on the map, because we were all doing the work, but because I became a legal entity, I was visible. And my goal, besides saving babies, was really to to elevate the Black midwife of the United States. That was my goal, for us to be seen again, for us to be respected, for our community to know what we did and what we're doing and why we're needed and why we care about them, and let the systems know, all these midwifery systems, the government know. And so I really spent a lot of my time, not so much delivering babies, but delivering the movement for Black midwives to be recognized, so that all these things that we see here today, the president for the NAACPM, or the president now of ACNM, or other different things that we see, Black women and midwives having tenure and more Black birth centers, all praise go to God, absolutely first and foremost. But my work with Jennie Joseph and Ayana Day and Makara and Umsa, so many people were part of this. It wasn't me. It was all of you all, because there's no way having every state rep coming to these meetings. Listen, you all, top of Israel.
Come on now.
It's a time that, there's like, I watched Martin Luther King and then I said, wow, what a time in history. I wish I was there. This, I'm saying, is a time in history. You had to be there. The energy was off the chart. We had people really switching up how they thought. When we showed up in the room, they knew that this was about to happen, change was going to happen. And as a result of it, we have all these young Black women becoming midwives now. We have all these wonderful schools. We have more. We're not there yet, but it took us 20 years. It didn't happen overnight.
Yes.
A long time being uninvited guests in white spaces that discussed midwifery and did not discuss us. And we had to bring ourselves to this place and say, we've always been here. We're still here, and this is how we're going to work together. This is how we're going to make it work. Unfortunately, many of them were humble, realized the situation, and so here we are. So I hope that kind of...
No, it really sets the tone for what we are talking about now, because you've taken a small part of that maybe and put it into your book in order for this to continue. So you're bringing the elder wisdom, the ancestral wisdom, and putting it down for us all to have opportunity to learn from that and to perpetuate that, right?
Right.
I mean, let's talk about what's missing from postpartum. What are the misconceptions out there about postpartum that we don't even know anymore, that need to be cleared up, and that your work is helping us clear up?
I think for me, the first misconception that I talk about, that postpartum is supposed to be a time of pain and despair and depression. That's a myth. Everyone has a different experience, but I'll just say for myself first, it is opinionated, it is subjective. Mother of 7, had the most awesome postpartum experiences, even before I had this book, all the time. Because I just didn't hear they're supposed to be so bad. It wasn't a negative. It might have been exciting, like the book says, but it was okay. It was nice. And so I think that having your baby, it's not supposed to be a time of despair. It's not supposed to be a time of, oh my God, I can't do this. And the things that we're hearing more and more because of isolation, people not understanding what the process is. And that you can... And the other thing I think that I was telling someone yesterday is that the purpose of the postpartum period, besides the physical, is for the mother to get to know her baby. That's the whole point. Right. To have that time. We don't hear a lot about the baby. It's really about the mother, depression, in pain, incontinence, painful sex, all these just like down the list, which is so very Western. It's always for women. It's always bad. Pregnancy's bad, labor's bad, menopause bad. Like, come on now. God made us to be goddesses. I just don't believe it's supposed to be all bad. I believe that we can do things to make it easier. Yes, there are some physiological things going to happen, but the book talks about that. If somebody is having pain when they are urinating, then we can use comfrey tea and have them pour as they urinate to dilute the urine. And there's a comfrey tea itself, that particular tea, with the Latin name is in the book, which is the epithelial herb. It makes the skin just heal so quickly. And the thing about this too, Jennie, everything I talk about, I have literally done 45 years. It's not made up.
Point.
All the mothers I helped, my daughters, the strangers, everything I actually have done. They all say the same thing. Oh my God, literally, this is my 4th baby. I've never felt so strong on day 2. I never felt so cared about, because, and so I say in the book, this was a family thing. And unfortunately, we don't have the family. That was it. I had a daughter. So I have a daughter. She has a baby. I'm there. Her 2 sisters are there. My son's girlfriend's there. My 5 best friends, and we're all just back and forth there because people have big families and we all know what to do. And so we just did it. It was a rhythm. It wasn't like a book. It's like, oh, she's hungry. You know, you need to bring her some food. Oh, you go rub her feet with some castor oil. You go change the bed. I'm steaming the hot water now with the bay leaves in it. And so it was just like Thanksgiving. You get the turkey, I'm doing the dress, you get the cranberry sauce, I do the potatoes. So, but now we don't have that structure. So now the book is going to help us go back to this. Another thing I'm excited about too is that the book is for the mother, but it's more so for the family because I get calls.
Yes.
My daughter's having a baby. I don't know what to do. How do I help her? My daughter's mad at me because I'm just holding the baby. I'm like, yes, don't hold the baby. She wants to hold her baby. You go find her food. You go get her a clean gown. You rub her back. You tell how beautiful she looks. Bring her tea without asking. Just bring it, put it next to her bed. And so just telling the grandma, the grandpa, the family, the friend, here's how you help a postpartum mom look like this cover, like a queen, glowing and beautiful, oil her skin, beautification. What kind of prayers do we say for her? Thank God she's here. Thank God the baby's okay. There's a section for the mother who doesn't have a baby, unfortunately. There's also postpartum without the baby, which is a whole nother book by itself because but we do touch on it.
You've named so many practices. And I think even just in the naming, it really brings it right back front and center where it belongs.
Right. Right.
We have such amazing gaps in postpartum on so many levels, right? It's almost as if we've decided as a society, at least I'm talking about America, the North America kind of approach, the westernized approach, that the minute the child is out of you, it's done.
Right.
And we all go back to business as normal, and that is not the case. That is not the case.
It's not. And I think the book really brings the mother back to center because motherhood is not respected in the United States of America. It's really not. Because if it was, we wouldn't be in this situation. So, people want to be a doctor or a coder. To be a mother, there's not a lot of love around it. So therefore, we don't take care of it. We look at the African tradition, which is also changing now because of the westernization, but the mother stays home. People take care of her. People who live in America from Africa, they literally send for their mom. The mother expected to come and to stay for 5 months and 6 months, sometimes a year. I know these families. But at the same time, Jenny, in the book, when we had our babies, I remember, my mother passed when I was 15. I got pregnant, I was 21, and I had some good friends who were pregnant with me. Back then it was so fun because everybody got pregnant, kind of like, not by choice, we just got pregnant around the same time. So, you're 8 months. It was just nice to be pregnant with always different people. But one woman said she was getting close. I'm getting ready to go. I said, go where? So I'm getting ready to go home. I said, where's home? Say, Alabama. I said, why are you going to Alabama? I said, because my mother's going to take care of me. And I was 21. I remember that. My mother's going to take care of me. I'm going to go home. And that was the African tradition. When you got pregnant.
Mothering the mother.
Exactly. You go home and your mother takes care of you. Isn't that beautiful?
It is. And I think it's inside of us all as human beings, whether we can voice that, name that, but it's there.
Right. Somebody take care of me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But thing too, who better than your mom? Because your mom birthed you.
Right? Or your mother figure. If you don't have a mom, you still have that mother figure that you want the same thing from.
Yeah. And people said to I'm going to my aunt. They'll say my mother's, and I don't get along or whatever. But people knew, every person knew that you took care of this new mother. So, and someone, so it was my dad. My dad took care of me. He literally changed my pad. Like, wow, he wrapped my stomach. He brought me food. My dad's the healer of my family. And we have many male midwives. And so, many male healers. So you're right. Whoever is it, is that figure? But the mother needs to be mothered. And in the movie, the Doula Guide, the Doula Story that took place in, have you seen that one?
Yes, absolutely. The classic, the Doula Story. Mm-hmm.
Who was I think her name was Laretha, who was the main figure.
Out of Chicago.
Yes. I remember her saying, you mother the mother so she can mother her baby.
That's right.
That always stayed in my mind. So we see across the United States for African American, African descent people, that mothering is a central figure to it. Whether it's big mama, your godmother, your surrogate mama, your community mother, that this figure is what nurtures us. And when you're nurtured, you can nurture the baby. And that's what it's about. Right. The mother needs time to bond and feed her baby. The baby needs time to get to know its mama. And that's what the book is about. How do we just go back to the basics?
I love that there's the sort of handbook concept in your book, Shafia. You walk people through, you give us a roadmap almost of how and what to do. And exactly. That then allows us to not have to be in our feelings and in our drama, our trauma even, right? It's just straightforward. It's written out for you. What made you think about doing it that way?
Well, the publishers are very helpful.
Okay.
They're very helpful.
Right.
They're very helpful. They're like, Mama Shafia, they call us. I said, we call you Mama Shafia so you can. Mama Shafia, we feel that this needs to be this way. I'm like, I would think about it, like people trying to tell me what to do. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. They said, make it in a way so that it's useful, not, I'm all philosophical, that we came across the sea. Like, make it so that when someone picks up this book and they can't see you and they can't call you and they're all by themselves, they can follow through. I said, that's a great idea. Make it helpful. So I will give, again, credence to having publisher. Their job is to help the writer put out their best work. And they really did do that. Even with the recipes, there's a book called, what's it called? I know you all know it, but it's called Cooking Vibration. It's a wonderful book with great recipes. And I can't think of her name, she's passed away, but her book's all about, cooking how you feel, which is how I cook. I cook really well. I make amazing food. But of course, I've been cooking for years, though this, though that. Like, no, you can't be doing that. You got to give us some ingredient. How much water? I don't want to do that. How much salt? How long does it cook? Like, I don't know till it's done. So I have to really stop and go back, measure how I cook. So now when someone flip the book, they can like, okay, it's not how I feel. I need to know it is 6 cups of water. It is 2 cups of water. So the recipes are easy to follow also, and they are very delicious. And the moms love them. Again, I make a great peanut soup. Not because it's also a stew. I make a soup for mothers who all of them love it. Or the collard green, coconut, lime soup that moms also love. The black eyed pea, okra soup. So they're all soups, because that's the thing with, when I did a class a couple of days ago, I asked a lot of the women, what do people get when they have their babies? They said pasta, and casseroles. And so in our tradition, it's definitely soups to rehydrate the mom. Mother's crying, they're bleeding, they're sweating, they're peeing, but all that they're losing water. And if we lose water incorrectly, what do we get? We get mastitis or infection, dehydrated. So the soup is a great way to get them hydration along with the minerals that they need to keep going. Along with water, of course, and everything calls for a side dish of rice because, in the African culture and in the South, spaghetti was not part of our diet. Rice comes from Africa. So the book really uses all the food that is African DNA. So black eyed peas comes from Africa. Watermelon comes from Africa. Rice comes from Africa. The guinea fowl, the okra, the palm oil, the sesame seeds, the mint, the lettuce. I did so much research on how much food. The geranium. So I have a bunch of geraniums. I now plant geraniums everywhere in honor of Africa. So all those, and again, the book says, of course, be flexible. It says meat. If you don't eat, you can substitute it for beans or tofu or fish. But you have a great base that you can give mothers what they need. The other thing too, Jenny, I focus on the first 42 days, and I want to put that out there. But I know that people say that, postpartum years, it is, a year at least, and for some it's 2. But I choose the first 42 days because that's when we have the most postpartum morbidities. That's where they say 1/3. We know, unfortunately, the first amount of deaths happen in pregnancy. The second high amount on the day of delivery. The third is 0 to 7. The next level is 7 to 42, and then it's up until 1 year. So my belief was what I learned from the elder Black midwives and grandmas and mothers in general. When they took care of their daughter, they focused on that time, that intense time, to make sure that she was strong, hydrated, healed up. So when she did go further into her postpartum period, she would not have problems. We don't want someone going into a 4th month or the 6th month still burning when they urinate, or still bleeding, still having cramps, or just not feeling strong. And so I focused. So this book's really about the first 42 days.
That's so important. If we look at our medical model, that we have to really just assume is not going to change for a good couple of more generations, right? Like, I want to be more hopeful than that, but I think let's just stay realistic. right?
Right.
That you will have your child, wherever you have your child, hospital, birthing center, home, wherever. But the American mindset is 2 days, especially in the hospital, you're out the door, right? A week later, you should be okay. 2 weeks, you might even be back at work.
Right.
That blew my mind when I came to the States. Having left England, I trained as a midwife in England, worked as a midwife in England, and the European and the other countries, where there's at least a nod that 6 weeks is a minimum, and maybe 12 weeks is what we're talking about as far as postpartum.
Yes.
But the American mindset is 2 days. And then you might get a 6-week appointment, a medical appointment, if you're very lucky. And that appointment is really useless to you because the pap smear doesn't help you in your postpartum period, right? But yet that is the standard behavior for postpartum. So you say the 42 weeks, that is the 6 weeks, but the 42 days, the 42 days of being nourished and supported. You have a title in the book that using these words that just blow my mind. Honored, prayed over, warmed, cleansed, nourished, hydrated, healed, rested, loved. Those adjectives, they sum up 42 whole days.
Right.
It's so...
And then we still want the mom to, to be, and I tell people like, okay, what happens to 42? I said, the way I think that Black folks used to do it, I hope we go back to it. Again, my own self, having a baby, I go visit my aunt from Alabama. My baby's like 7 months. As soon as you walk in the door, someone get that baby out of her arm. You go sit down. Someone bring her a plate of food. That's our postpartum care continuation. Someone grabbed my heavy baby. Someone took my heavy, back then, diaper bag off my shoulder. My aunt commands me to sit down. They still see you're in a new mother way, and tell someone to bring me food. I'm not the baby on my hip, trying to go get my own plate like we see people today. Even now, if I'm in line, I see a pregnant woman or a new mom or an elder, I tell them, oh, please sit down. I will go get your plate. That's how it should be. It's really returning to our humanity, our sensitivity, our respect for life, the new baby, the new mother, the new life. Our respect for our elders is going back to show care. And even though we go to the hospital for all of these new postpartum visits, they're not helpful. They're not rubbing her back. They're not giving her some. She's sitting in a chair with her 4-day-old baby to get another bilirubin test. She should be in the bed. She come back on day 6 to talk to lactation consultant. She come on day 9 to pick up some diapers from somewhere. And she keeps getting out. And so therefore, when I see it, she's like, I'm so exhausted. I'm like, what's going on? Because she's had 3 appointments in 2 weeks. And so we need to get a system of, we have visiting nurses or visiting trained birth attendants or visiting midwives to go and do the medical stuff, check the baby's blood. I don't have the capacity.
That's what we used to do.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm accustomed to doing that. We used to go out for the first 10 days postpartum. Everybody had at least one visit per day for 10 days.
Exactly.
At home. Right? And then followed by an extended set of visits if that was needed. And if not, the visiting nurse would pick up. And then the clinic nurse and then the school nurse. There was a continuum of care.
But you have to stay home, yes, and rest.
Shafia, let's talk about mental health, because undergirding all of this is taking care of the mental health.
Yes.
And emotional health.
Yes.
So I want to know, and I want to hear from you how, reestablishing these customs and practices, how obviously I think it's all obvious that it takes care of your mental health, but in the absence of them, what are we seeing in the postpartum, especially in the American context, as far as mental health?
Right. A lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of self-doubting. Am I doing this right? What am I doing? I'm not a good mother. The baby's crying. I can't do it. I'm isolated. No one's visiting me.
Loneliness. Yes.
Yeah. I saw a young girl one time in the mall. Her baby was also pregnant. I'm like, what are you doing out? Maybe it was a week later. It's because I'm bored. I'm at home by myself every day. So we say stay home and don't come out, but we don't mean for it to be a prison. Someone has to go visit her. And the book says go sit. Just go sit and drink tea, or just sit in the front room while she sleeps. She knows you're there. It's just like being the doula or the midwife. The study says that just by being a female in the room helps facilitate a healthy birth. You don't have to touch the mom. Just being in the room. We are female mammals. We connect. So just knowing that mama's in the house, Jennie Joseph's in my house, Mama Shafia is here, I can sleep. I feel safe. And when you feel safe, that reduces mental health. Again, the study said for people who are homeless because they can't sleep and they're constantly in fear who's going to hurt them on the sidewalk sleeping, they become mentally ill because sleep deprivation causes that. And that's a big issue for postpartum mom, not knowing how to get sleep. And I will say publicly, I do promote co-sleeping. I teach moms how to co-sleep safely. There's tons of studies on it. Mothers have been taught, of the SIDS. So they're getting up. They say, I keep getting up. I'm afraid. So I get up and going back and forth getting the baby. The breast's on your body for a reason. You're not supposed to have to get up. It's right there. Just put the baby right there because you're so close. And it's so cute when they get older. You wake up, they're on the breast button. It's like, how did they get there? Get on over there. So, people should what they feel comfortable with, but we have to find a way where sleep is not, having a baby is not a punishment. It is a blessing. That's the book talks about. Right. Having a baby is a punishment. You're tired. People say my life is over. I've lost my career. Toni Morrison, with her 2 children, single parent, and Nobel Peace Prize of her writing, says in her book, and I quote in my book, for us, having a baby and having a career, it's not one or the other. We're able to do both in harmony. It's not a competition, and we hear that a lot.
Well, I think given what we have in our current state of, pre and post morbidity and mortality, the ill health, the harm, or the actual death of mothers during their pregnancy, labor, or postpartum in the States. The postpartum period is the most overlooked in terms of where that ill health and that poor outcome is happening, right? And much of it is mental health, right? It is coming through from people who are so overwhelmed and depressed. And that also, even suicidal, right? So it's not something we want to smooth over or skate over or ignore. We also recognize and thank you for being the leader in putting it out there in this way, the positive sides and the ability to do something about it, right? Having a way to mitigate that is life-saving, literally.
It is. Miss Wynn said, of course, someone's psychosis, there's different levels, but the stress-induced mental health, we can deal with that. And that, again, is from people feeling cared about and being taken care of, just being cared about. I can't imagine having a baby and nobody cares about me. That in itself is quite a mental, because it's abnormal. My daughter, one of my children was, what I want to say is that when we see the dolphin have a baby, which I love, and the whale, there's the females surround her, or the elephants surround them, and they help out. Even after the baby's born, they help get the baby up. They make sure that no one bothers little baby elephants. So we as humans, that's what we used to do. We came and we celebrated. So this book's about mothering the mother, honoring the mother, making this a sacred time. I'm a spiritual person. This is it's a miracle. A baby's coming, a life is coming to the world. There's nothing bigger than that. Not going to the moon, not figuring out how to get a diamond. Without life, there is no world. So the fact that this human being has brought forth this human being, she deserves all the support. We need to read this book is to rethink how I can honor this mother in my home, make her feel good about herself that she did. Not, it's your 5th one. Oh, wow, how are you going to get back to that corporate job? Or can you make your payment for your car? It's not about that. It's like, you have done an amazing thing. I'm here to literally serve you. We are in service.
Right. Yes. Well, let's have a quick nod to the partners, because they are part of this process as well. What do you think as far as partners, fathers, and then even the other siblings, in terms of what's their need here and how do we support them as they in turn support mothering the mother?
I have a section called Fathering the Father.
Of course you do.
It says, what does it have here? Well, we want the father to be included, for sure.
Absolutely.
And I want to say, what can I say here? I'm trying to see if I can read something quickly. Mm-hmm. Well, we will say that, dear God, bless this new father, Baba, may have a loving relationship with his new baby, may have the intuition to support the new mother, may have gratitude for the blessing of family, may he be prosperous in caring for and protecting his family, and may he be blessed with good health and long life. Send him help in the sacred postpartum period so that he may experience the blessings of African-American postpartum traditions and rituals. Fathers, if you feel overwhelmed, please ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of strength. Remember the African proverb, it takes a village. Congratulations on being a father. So I feel like dads need to be congratulated more. They're under pressure too. Like, why are you having a baby? I've had so many people tell me I wanted the baby. The father didn't want it, so I didn't go through with it. So there's a lot of talk now among the men, them not valuing fathers and fatherhood. And I come from a generation where to be a father was a proud thing, you know. And so in the book, you know, fathers need, when you go in to give the mother a plate of food and the father's there or the partner's there, he gets a plate of food. You know, you're serving the family. You're serving the family. I'm mothering the mother, but if I'm a mother, I'm automatically gonna give my son-in-law, you know, or my daughter's wife or her partner. So I'm gonna feed the other children. So it's not like we're not tunnel vision, because again, this is about common sense, good manners, intuition, and community. So we cook enough soup so everybody gets to eat. It's gonna be postpartum soup, but we'll put some rice there and they can add something else with it. So yes, and again, the fathers feel very good to see you come in with this book methods. Like they see their loved one being cared for.
They love a manual. They so love a manual. Right?
Okay. How do I change the engine? How do I get the diaper up?
Right.
You know, so I include the baby. And I think Erica Badu wrote the forward, and I think her forward part just says that we have something that brings the family together, you know, where the mother and baby are, I'm not quoting it correctly, I'll just go back to me. What I'm saying is that the mother and baby are a unit in the book. It's not one or the other. Postpartum period does include, even though physiologically it's the mother's organs, but it's that other organ in a funny kind of is her baby. So we have to include the baby in the care. So there's, you know, things that, you know, pick your baby up when your baby cries, you know, talk to your baby. When you're breastfeeding, you know, put your food down, look at your phone down, look at your baby's eyes, you know, wash your baby. You'd be surprised, you know, change your baby, keep your baby warm. It's a big thing now. People bring their babies out with no hats and no socks on. And that is not African-American tradition. That's another tradition. I'm seeing more and more people picking that up from our culture where it talks about, you know, you put something on your feet and we know now that your head loses the most heat quicker. And I've had physicians say that we're seeing more and more babies coming in ill because of that. The colder you are, the more your immune system has to fight. So you get a lower immune system. So we want to keep our babies, not they can't breastfeed, but common sense. If you're the mom or dad, you're wearing a hat and shoes, your baby should have a hat and shoes. Dress them like you. If you have a summer and you're just wearing a light shirt and a pair of light pants, don't wrap your baby in two wool blankets and a hat. It's just, you know, let them mirror how you feel about the weather, and we'll have less problems. Babies who are too hot don't do well, you know, medically.
That's right, or too cold.
Thank you. So just some common sense things about staying warm. You know, we're in a culture where people of another culture, you know, with ice and ice cold water. You know, every time you go to the restaurant, it's 20 degrees outside. I give you ice cold water. I'm always like, could you please take the ice out of my water? I just want regular water. So just changing. In the Southern tradition, after having a baby, after a condition, you get people warm. So they talk about mother roasting, you know, the mother roasting out of Asia, but we did the same mother roasting. They would put hot bricks under your bed. They kept the fireplace going. The 21st century, you know, it means making your thermostats on 70 if you're cold. It means maybe you have to put another type of curtain at the windows. You know, they have curtains that keep the cold from coming in. Maybe making sure that you have two wool blankets, putting socks on your feet, you know, putting a scarf or your little, your bonnet on your head, you know, laying on cotton sheets and not polyester, not mixed fabrics. You're not sweating so much. So these things are all in the book. And someone read the book, another midwife. I said, what did you get from it? So I'm just amazed about the focus on cleanliness, because I have a lot of things that they don't really see. I like that part. I thought there was interest that she focused about moms taking showers, you know, cleaning up their room, changing the blood off their sheet, getting the dry milk nightgown off them into something clean. Just, you know, just loving somebody. If I love my children, you're going to keep them clean, right?
That's right.
You know?
Well, and baby wearing as well. I think, you know, we've got a lot more information, and we've been doing the skin to skin practice, of course, for eons, but now it's, you know, a thing. But wearing the baby, partners wearing the baby, you know, grandmas anybody wearing the baby, and holding that baby close. We don't put our babies down typically, right? That's not a traditional way for us.
Right. You keep our babies near us, or it's going from someone's arm, as though someone's wearing it. And even, we want the mom to have her oxytocin and keep those contractions, prevent that heavy bleeding. Yes. She needs the baby near her. The baby being near her makes her have contractions. Well, actually, the baby can cry any place in the house and her uterus will respond with the contraction. But we want those so-called involution, those what they call after pain, that, by the way, very temporary. But, it keeps the mother from bleeding. And just to go back to the morbidity, we want to avoid it. So there's so many morbidities that we take for granted. Hemorrhoids, that's morbidity means illness. So that's the illness. How do we take care of that? Having, your backache. I think the biggest thing is actually backache. The study I read that the biggest thing that women are depressed about postpartum is actually headaches, getting headaches. And so what can we do about that? So in the book, it's, is it, light rosemary tea? Of course, we always check, it says in the book, make sure it's not hypertension. Rule that out. But once that's ruled out, a warm bath, a cloth on the head, rubbing her shoulders, helping her get rid of the tension, making sure she's well hydrated to get rid of those headaches. You can't take care of a baby with a pounding headache. So we do want, maybe it's low lights. Maybe it is hold the baby a little bit longer so that she can get that another kind of sleep. But it is addressed. So the headaches was one thing they found that mothers talked about. And also the second one was actually fatigue. So fatigue and exhaustion, I said the difference in the book. One thing, I normalize it. You're going to be tired.
That's it. Literally, you do. Mm-hmm.
Right. You just had a baby. You carried a human being. First of all, you understand that postpartum is a reflection of your pregnancy. So you was pregnant for 9 months or 7 months. You still was pregnant. That alone was a tax on the body. So you're going from running, this thing you've been running and pushing a truck for 8 months, and now all of a sudden you stopped. Your body's exhausted because you're tired. So you're going to get a massage at that truck. You're going to get a bunch of steak or water or tofu. You're going to get wrapped up and laid to rest. So you can get your energy back. You push that truck. So you carry the baby. Then you went into labor. That's the other kind of exhaustion. And then did you go into labor, with a medical problem maybe, or a lot of stress prior? All that reflects on your psychological, social, physiological experience to a certain extent. So we kind of put in the book, look at each mom and look at her experience. Was it a cesarean section? Maybe she didn't want it. So now she's going through a regret. So how do we help her get out of that regret and get into acceptance and gratitude? A lot is about gratitude. I know there's a lot of racism going around in the hospitals and in the system, but it's not just there. Racism is in America. It's built, it's our kids in school, it's in the store, it's in the airport, it's everywhere. So we know that. So we can't let it get us out of our context. And so I don't want a new mom to go into a postpartum period feeling like she did something wrong or discussing birth trauma with her or discussing birth rape. I don't use those terms. That's not the time to discuss that. Right now, you're okay. Put that in the parking lot. I'm not saying it didn't happen. Put it in the parking lot. Let's just love you. You get strong. You want to write that letter and sue later, fine. But right now, so I want to tell birth workers, don't go in and discuss that with new moms. Man, that doctor should have something. Doesn't matter. The baby's here. We're not going to go back in the past. Let's just stay in the moment and celebrate the postpartum. I think too mothers are bringing in regret. I should have said this. I missed my birth plan. They did this to me. They come in so upset from the experience. And I feel part of it, not that it doesn't happen, I think that part of it, the media is getting these people worked up. They were just looking for stuff. And then we come into our postpartum period, and that does bring anxiety. I can't focus on my baby if I'm so mad about that the nurse...
What happened? Yeah.
Right. Didn't put my birth bag or didn't put my birth ball between my legs correctly. So I feel like we have to look at our culture where people were lynched and listen to Martin Luther King the other day, things they went through, still keeping our spiritual level of pride and hope and dignity so that we can move forward. And we have a whole civil rights movement that did that. They experienced way worse things than we did at a hospital birth. I don't want to negate it, but I feel like I'm just seeing a lot of trauma talk, and I'm seeing women go into the postpartum feeling angry and depressed. So that part we have to work on.
So, that's a word. What do you want listeners to do this week? What's going on now? Because this book is coming out, people. Let's talk about that.
It sure my beautiful. The book is coming out. So, as I think I stopped in the beginning saying this book was like being pregnant. So I preconceived it. Then I got pregnant. I've been pregnant for a long time. So, we have transition every 3 minutes, lasting 90 seconds. I feel like I'm in transition now, almost. I feel the pressure of a baby coming out because it's not going to be born to the 27th. So I'm not there, but I know that I've dropped. I feel some weight down there. I feel like something's about to happen. I'm excited. I've done my nesting. I'm on these podcasts, and I got my dress ready for the opening. So on the 27th, the book will hit the world. You can go to any bookstore. You can go online and find it. You can walk into the library pretty soon and go get it. So the book is available now. You can actually pre-order it right now, though. Mm-hmm. You can go to Amazon, just say Mother and the Mother by Shafia Monroe. It will come up. It's on something called, it's on different platforms. You can also get the audio, or you just go to my website. As a courtesy, I put 2 links on there. For those who aren't for Amazon, there's a separate link. So you have 2 choices. So you can go to ShafiaMonroe.com, and then you can just right there click on the link and save yourself the time. Or if you got an Amazon account, go to your Amazon account or whatever account you use to get your books. But I would love to see this book in every single household. If someone's pregnant, if they're not pregnant, you don't have to be pregnant to read this book. You don't have to be a mom. You just want to know the culture. You want to know the recipes. You want to know what your rights are and how they should be. It's a history book. It's a history of what really happened. This is a nonfiction pregnancy book. So the publisher, again, they were very, I will say, very honored that things in the book, of course, were evidence-based. So I'm not evidence-based. Right. But it's good stuff, you all. I'm so proud of this book. It
sure is good stuff. I love that. It's good stuff. Shafia, to follow on your analogy of your pregnancy and your current labor that you're in and this impending date, January the 27th, 2026, y'all, that will be the day that will go down in infamy. And I am so grateful because just like labor, you took a pause just before you start that pushing. And I'm grateful that you came on to share about this wonderful gift that you have created for all of us. There's so many ways to just think about what the power of this work will have. But for all of us, I say a deep thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being who you are, for supporting me. So many people supported me. It's a long time. You're writing that book, Shafia. Keep it going. Don't worry about the meeting. Just keep going. It is a labor. It is labor. I missed a lot of birthdays. I've missed funerals. They give you a deadline. And I also have a job. So I had to, get up at, I want to say I love Toni Morrison. I did not follow her, but I grabbed her books to learn about postpartum things. And in her book, she said that she would get up before the sunrise, and she had to work also with her 2 kids. She would get up before sunrise, and she would write until the sun rose. I did that for 1 year. I got up at 3 o'clock every day, and I wrote from 3 o'clock to 9 or 10 in the morning every day for almost a year. The year before that, I wrote at night. But it took 2 years, and so it has been a process. And I do thank all of you out there who cheered me on, put a hot compress on my back, fanned me, changed my positions for me, told me I could do it, helped me breathe. So really, it has been a labor. So I am excited. Like I said, I'm like, Mom, but until it comes, I can't wait to hold it. This is not the book you all. This is like a sample they give me to look for mistakes. So, but the real book has my picture on the back. It's not there. It has some endorsements, and it says "Forward by Erykah Badu" in the front. So I'm waiting for the real book also to hold it with me so I can cradle my baby.
Well, we are all excited with you. Thank you, sis. Love you.
Thank you. Love you. Thank you for this opportunity to share. So you all, again, January 27th, you can go get the book in person, or you can order right now, pre-order it now, and have it right to your door.